At my husband's funeral, my sister Karen stood up to give a eulogy. Thomas was like a brother to me, she said, tears streaming down her face. He was family. What she didn't tell anyone was that she'd been stealing his identity for 6 months, draining his accounts, and had even filed paperwork claiming she was his wife to steal his $500,000 life insurance. I sat in that church pew watching her performance and smiled, because what Karen didn't know was that I had cameras in my house, bank alerts on my phone, and the police waiting outside. My name is Nanny. I'm 71 years old now, and this is the story of how my younger sister tried to steal everything from my dead husband and how I made sure she got exactly what she deserved. It started 6 months before Thomas died. He had been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave him 6 months to a year. We were devastated, but we tried to make the most of the time we had left. Thomas was 68, and we'd been married for 32 years. He was my everything, my best friend, my partner, the love of my life. Losing him felt like losing half of myself. Karen, my sister, was 65, 3 years younger than me, and we'd never been close. Growing up, she was always jealous of everything I had. If I got a new dress, she wanted a better one. If I got good grades, she had to get better ones. If I had a boyfriend, she'd try to flirt with him. When I married Thomas, Karen made a toast at our wedding that I've never forgotten. I'm so happy for Nanny. She finally found someone who can tolerate her. Everyone laughed uncomfortably. Thomas squeezed my hand under the table. For 32 years, Karen and I maintained a distant relationship. We saw each other at holidays, exchanged pleasantries, but we weren't friends. She lived 2 hours away with her third husband, Ralph, a man she married for his money and divorced 3 years later when she'd taken enough. Karen had always been beautiful, the pretty sister, the one men looked at. She used that beauty like a weapon, marrying and divorcing 3 times, always walking away with money, property, something. She never worked a real job. She lived off alimony and whatever she could squeeze from men. When Thomas got sick, I called to tell her. "Oh, Nanny, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Is there anything I can do?" "We're managing. I just thought you should know." "Well, if you need anything at all, I'm here for you." I should have known better. Karen was never there for anyone but herself. The first time she visited was 2 weeks after the diagnosis. She brought flowers and the casserole. "How are you holding up, Nanny?" she asked, hugging me. "It's hard, but we're taking it day by day." She walked through the house, looking around like she was appraising it. "This is such a beautiful home. You and Thomas built a really nice life." "Thank you." "And financially, are you okay? I mean, medical bills must be expensive." "We're fine. Thomas has good insurance and we have savings." Her eyes flickered with something I couldn't quite read. Interest? Greed? "Well, that's good. That's really good." She started visiting more often after that. Once a week, then twice a week, always bringing food, always offering to help. "You look exhausted, Nanny. Why don't you go take a nap? I'll sit with Thomas." At first, I was grateful. Caregiving is exhausting. Thomas needed help with everything: bathing, eating, getting to the bathroom. He was weak and in pain most of the time. Having Karen there seemed like a blessing. I should have questioned why she suddenly cared so much. One day, about 3 months into Thomas's illness, I came home from the pharmacy to find Karen in Thomas's office. She was at his desk, going through papers. "Karen, what are you doing?" She jumped, startled. "Oh, Nanny, you scared me. I was just Thomas asked me to find some insurance papers for him. He's asleep. He couldn't have asked you anything. She laughed nervously. Right, I meant earlier. Earlier he asked me, and I'm just looking now. I'll find them, thank you. Her smile was tight. Just trying to help. That night, after Thomas fell asleep, I did something I never thought I'd do. I set up hidden cameras in our house. Small ones, the kind you can barely see. One in the bedroom, one in Thomas's office, one in the living room. I also set up alerts on all of Thomas's accounts. Every time a card was used, I'd get a notification on my phone. 2 days later, my phone buzzed. Thomas's MasterCard had just been used at a luxury spa, $2,500. I checked the camera footage. Karen had visited that morning while I was with the doctor with Thomas. She'd gone into his office, taken a credit card from his desk drawer, and left. My blood ran cold. My own sister was stealing from my dying husband. But I didn't confront her yet. I needed more evidence. I needed to know how deep this went. Over the next 2 weeks, I documented everything. Karen used Thomas's cards 8 more times. She charged over $15,000 in those 2 weeks alone. Clothes, jewelry, spa treatments, expensive dinners with friends. She was using my dying husband's money to live a luxury lifestyle. But it got worse. So much worse. One day, I got a call from our insurance company. Mrs. Sterling, we're calling about the life insurance claim filed last week. What claim? My husband is still alive. Silence. Ma'am, we have a claim here filed by Karen Mitchell, stating she's the widow and beneficiary of Thomas Sterling's life insurance policy. My heart stopped. That's impossible. I'm Thomas's wife. He's still alive. And who is Karen Mitchell? According to the paperwork, she claims to be his wife. She provided a marriage certificate and death certificate. A death certificate? My husband is alive. I'm looking at him right now. Ma'am, I think you need to come to our office. Something is very wrong here. I drove to the insurance company that afternoon. They showed me the paperwork. A marriage certificate between Thomas Sterling and Karen Mitchell, dated 5 years ago. It was completely fake, but it looked official. A death certificate for Thomas Sterling, dated 2 weeks ago, also fake, and a claim form for $500,000, Thomas's life insurance policy. This is fraud, the insurance representative said. This is serious fraud. You need to call the police. Not yet, I said, my mind racing. Not yet. I need to catch her in the act. I called a lawyer that day, explained everything. He advised me to keep gathering evidence and then press charges all at once. If you confront her now, she'll destroy evidence. Let her think she's getting away with it. So I did. I watched my sister steal from my dying husband for another month. I documented every transaction, every lie, every theft. She would visit, bringing flowers and casseroles, asking sweetly how Thomas was doing. "You're such a trooper, Nanny. I don't know how you do it. Thomas is so lucky to have you." All while stealing everything she could get her hands on. Thomas died on a Tuesday morning in October. He went peacefully, holding my hand. His last words were, "I love you, Nanny. You made my life beautiful." I held him and cried. My husband of 32 years was gone. Karen showed up 3 hours later. She must have been monitoring his condition somehow, waiting for this moment. "Oh, Nanny," she wailed, throwing her arms around me. "I'm so sorry. This is devastating." She cried dramatically, making a show of her grief. But I saw her eyes, cold, calculating, already thinking about what she could take. "The funeral," she said after a few minutes. "Let me help you plan it. You shouldn't have to do this alone." "That's kind of you." "And Nanny, I know this is hard to think about now, but finances, Thomas's accounts, his insurance, you'll need help navigating all of that. I can help." There it was, her real interest. "I'll manage," I said quietly. No, I insist. You're grieving. You're not thinking clearly. Let me handle the business side of things." "Karen?" I said I'll manage. Her smile tightened. "Of course, whatever you want." The funeral was scheduled for Saturday, 4 days away. In those 4 days, Karen visited every day. Each time, I caught her on camera going through Thomas's things. His office, his wallet, his papers. She even tried to log into his computer, but I changed all the passwords. On Friday, the day before the funeral, my phone buzzed. Karen had just tried to use Thomas's debit card. The transaction was declined. I'd frozen all his accounts. She called me an hour later. "Nanny, something weird is happening. I tried to get flowers for Thomas's funeral, and the florist said Thomas's card was declined. Did you freeze his accounts?" "Why were you using Thomas's card, Karen?" "What? Oh, I wanted to contribute. Buy flowers." "You have your own money." "Of course. I just thought, never mind. I'll use my own card." But she didn't have her own money. She never did. She'd been living off Thomas's stolen money for months. Saturday arrived. The funeral. The church was packed with people who loved Thomas. Friends, family, former colleagues, everyone sharing stories, crying, celebrating his life. Karen sat in the front row next to me, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. She was dressed in an expensive black dress, one she'd bought with Thomas's stolen credit card, according to my records. When it came time for eulogies, several people spoke. Thomas's brother, his best friend, our neighbor. Then Karen stood up. "I'd like to say a few words," she announced. She walked to the front of the church, stood at the podium, looked out at everyone with tears streaming down her face. "Thomas was like a brother to me," she began. "He was family. When he got sick, I tried to be there for him and Nanny as much as I could. I visited, I helped, I did everything a sister should do." People nodded sympathetically. Thomas was he was kind, and in his last months, we became very close. He told me things, personal things. He trusted me. I sat very still, wondering where this was going. And I want everyone to know that Thomas was grateful for the love and support he received from Nanny, of course, his devoted wife. She looked at me directly when she said that. Something in her eyes made my skin crawl. Thomas was a good man, and he deserved better than what life gave him at the end. What did that mean? She continued for another few minutes, painting herself as the devoted sister, the caregiver, the one who was there for everything. It was a performance, an Oscar-worthy performance. When she finished, people clapped softly. She walked back to her seat and squeezed my hand. "He loved you so much," she whispered. After the funeral, there was a reception at our house. People came through, offering condolences, sharing memories, bringing food. Karen was everywhere, playing hostess in my own home, greeting people, directing them to food, acting like she lived there. I watched her carefully. She kept disappearing upstairs to check on things or to make sure everything was okay. But I knew what she was really doing. She was searching, looking for documents, bank information, insurance papers, anything she could use. What she didn't know was that everything valuable was locked in a safe deposit box at the bank, and she would never get access to any of it. After the last guest left, Karen stayed behind. "Let me help you clean up," she offered. "I'm fine. You should go home. It's been a long day." "Are you sure? I don't mind staying." "I'm sure." She hesitated, then grabbed her purse. "Okay, but Nanny, we need to talk soon. About Thomas's affairs, the estate, his accounts, insurance, all of that. We will." "When?" "Soon. How about Monday? I can come over Monday and we can go through everything together." "I'll let you know." She looked frustrated but forced a smile. "Okay, call me. And Nanny, I'm here for you, whatever you need." After she left, I sat alone in my living room, in the house I'd shared with Thomas for 32 years, the house that now felt empty and cold without him. And I cried, not just for Thomas, but for the sister I never really had, the sister who saw my husband's death as an opportunity to steal. On Monday, I received a certified letter. It was from a lawyer representing Karen. The letter claimed that Thomas had verbally promised Karen $200,000 before he died, that he wanted to take care of her because she'd been such a help during his illness. The letter demanded I pay Karen $200,000 from Thomas's estate within 30 days or face legal action. I called my lawyer immediately. "This is extortion," he said after reading the letter. "She has no proof of any verbal agreement, and even if there was one, verbal agreements about estates are nearly impossible to enforce. What should I do?" We respond, we deny the claim, and we prepare to countersue for fraud and theft. That same week, I received another letter, this one from the life insurance company. "Dear Mrs. Sterling, we've completed our investigation into the fraudulent claim filed by Karen Mitchell. We've determined that the marriage certificate and death certificate were forgeries. We've reported this to local authorities. The matter is now a criminal investigation." It was time. I called Detective Morrison, the investigator assigned to the case. I gave him everything. 6 months of camera footage, bank statements showing the stolen money, copies of the forged documents, everything. "Mrs. Sterling," he said after reviewing it all, "this is one of the most clear-cut cases of fraud and identity theft I've ever seen. We'll need to arrest her." "Can you wait until Sunday?" "Why Sunday?" "It's my mother's 85th birthday. There's a family party. Everyone will be there, including Karen." He hesitated. "That's unconventional. She stole from my dying husband.
She tried to claim his life insurance. She forged documents saying she was his wife, all while pretending to be the caring sister. I want everyone to see who she really is. I understand your anger, but please, let her have one last moment thinking she got away with it, then arrest her in front of everyone, in front of our mother, our family, everyone who believed her performance. He thought about it. Okay, Sunday, but we'll be discreet until the right moment. Sunday arrived. My mother's birthday party was at a local restaurant. About 40 family members attended. Karen arrived early, dressed beautifully, playing the role of devoted daughter and sister. She hugged our mother. "Happy birthday, Mama. You look wonderful." She hugged me. "Nanny, sweetie, how are you holding up?" "I'm managing." "Have you thought about my lawyer's letter? About what Thomas wanted?" "Yes, I've thought about it." "And?" "Let's talk later, after the party." She smiled. "Perfect." The party proceeded normally. Cake, presents, stories. Our mother was happy, surrounded by her family. Karen gave a toast. "To Mama, the strongest woman I know. You raised us to be strong, independent women, to always look out for ourselves and each other. Thank you for everything." Look out for ourselves. That was certainly her motto. Around 8 p.m., I saw Detective Morrison enter the restaurant with 2 uniformed officers. They stood near the entrance, waiting for my signal. I stood up and clinked my glass. "Everyone, I'd like to say a few words." The room quieted, all eyes on me. First, "Happy birthday, Mom. I love you so much." My mother smiled, blowing me a kiss. Second, I want to talk about family, about what family means, about trust and love and loyalty. People nodded, thinking this was a sweet sentiment. When Thomas got sick, I learned who my real family was, who showed up, who cared, who could be trusted. I also learned who couldn't be trusted, who saw my husband's illness and death as an opportunity, who stole from a dying man, who forged documents, who tried to steal his identity and his life insurance. The room went silent. People looked confused. I'm talking about my sister, Karen Mitchell. "What?" Karen stayed up, her face red. "That's not true. That's a lie." "Is it?" I pulled out a folder from my purse. For 6 months, while Thomas was dying, Karen stole from him. She used his credit cards without permission. She charged over $50,000 to his accounts. She bought jewelry, clothes, spa treatments, expensive dinners, all while Thomas was in bed suffering. "That's not true." Karen stood up, her face red. "That's a lie." "Is it?" I pulled out more papers. Here's something even better. A forged marriage certificate claiming Karen was married to Thomas, and a forged death certificate saying he died 2 weeks before he actually did. She filed these with his life insurance company, trying to steal $500,000. My mother gasped. "Karen, what is she talking about?" "She's lying, Mama. She's making this up because she's grief-stricken and not thinking straight." "Am I?" I pulled out more papers.
The room erupted. People shouting,
gasping, staring at Karen in horror. "You tried to steal his life insurance?" our mother said, her voice shaking. "No, this is insane. Nanny's confused." The insurance company investigated. They confirmed the documents were forged. They reported it to police. I nodded toward Detective Morrison, who walked over. "Karen Mitchell?" he said. She looked at him, her face draining of color. "I'm Detective Morrison. You're under arrest for identity theft, fraud, forgery, and theft of over $50,000. You have the right to remain silent." Karen's mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. The officer pulled out handcuffs. "No, wait! This is a mistake! Nanny, tell them this is a mistake!" "It's not a mistake, Karen. You stole from my dying husband. You tried to steal his life insurance. You forged legal documents, and you did it all while pretending to be the caring sister." "Mama!" Karen turned to our mother desperately. "Mama, help me! She's lying!" Our mother stood up slowly. She was crying. "Did you do this, Karen? Did you steal from Thomas? I didn't mean. He would have wanted me to have." "Did you forge those documents? Did you try to steal his insurance money?" Karen looked around the room, every face staring at her in disgust and horror. No one was coming to her defense. "I needed the money," she finally said, her voice breaking. "I'm broke. My last divorce left me with nothing. I needed it more than Nanny did. She has the house. She has savings. She has everything. I have nothing." "So you stole from a dying man? From your sister's husband? He was going to die anyway. The money would have just gone to Nanny, and she doesn't need it." The room exploded again, people shouting at her, calling her names, expressing their disgust. "Ma'am, we need to take her now," Detective Morrison said. They led Karen out in handcuffs. She was crying, makeup running down her face, still trying to explain herself. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I was just trying to survive. Nanny, please tell them it's a misunderstanding." But I said nothing. I just watched as they put her in the police car. After she was gone, the restaurant was silent, everyone staring at me. Our mother walked over. She looked older suddenly, tired. "Did she really do all that?" she asked quietly. "Yes, Mama, all of it and more. I have 6 months of evidence." My mother sat down heavily. I failed. I failed as a mother. How did I raise a daughter who could do something so cruel?" "This isn't your fault, Mama. Karen made her own choices." "But still, I should have seen it, should have known." My cousin Sarah spoke up. "And Helen, Karen has always been like this, taking what doesn't belong to her, using people. We all saw it. We just didn't want to believe it." Others nodded in agreement. The party ended shortly after that. No one was in the mood to celebrate anymore. Over the next few weeks, the legal process unfolded. Karen was charged with multiple felonies. The evidence was overwhelming. My cameras had caught everything. Her lawyer tried to make a deal. "Ms. Mitchell is willing to pay back the stolen money in exchange for reduced charges." My lawyer laughed. "Pay it back with what? She's broke. That's why she stole it in the first place." Karen eventually pleaded guilty to avoid a trial. She was sentenced to 3 years in prison and ordered to pay restitution of $50,000 plus the cost of the legal fees. Our mother never visited her in prison, never called, never wrote.
She told me one day over tea, "I raised her better than that. I taught both of you to be honest, to work hard, to earn what you have." Karen chose to ignore all of that. She chose greed over family, and now she's paying the price. "I'm sorry, Mama. I know this hurts you." "It does. But I'm proud of you, Nanny. You were strong. You gathered evidence instead of reacting emotionally. You made sure justice was served. That takes courage." I received dozens of messages from family members after everything came out. Most were supportive, but a few blamed me. "Did you have to arrest her at Mama's birthday? You humiliated her in front of everyone. Couldn't you have handled this privately?" I wrote back, "She stole from my dying husband privately. She forged documents privately. She tried to steal $500,000 more privately. I simply made sure everyone knew the truth publicly." My cousin defended Karen on social media. "Everyone makes mistakes. Karen was desperate. She's still family." I commented, "Stealing $50,000 from a dying man and forging documents to steal $500,000 more isn't a mistake. It's a crime. And being family doesn't excuse it." Most people agreed with me, but a few thought I was too harsh. "She's your sister," someone said. "Doesn't that mean anything?" I replied, "She was my sister. But when she stole from my dying husband, she stopped being my family." Thomas had left me everything in his will: the house, his savings, his life insurance, his retirement accounts, about $1.2 million total. I used some of that money to set up a scholarship fund at our local college, in Thomas's name, for students studying education. Thomas had been a high school teacher for 30 years. I donated money to the Cancer Research Center that had tried to save him. I took care of our mother, paying for her living expenses and medical care, and I traveled. Thomas and I had always planned to travel after he retired. We never got the chance, so I traveled for both of us. I went to Italy, to Greece, to Ireland, all the places we dreamed of seeing together. I carried a small urn with some of Thomas's ashes, and each place I spread a little bit, so he could see the world with me, even after death. Karen served 18 months of her 3-year sentence before being released on parole. She tried to contact me several times. First, she sent a letter. "Dear Nanny, I'm so sorry for everything. I was desperate and made terrible choices. I hope someday you can forgive me. You're the only family I have left. Love, Karen." I didn't respond. Then she called. I didn't answer. Then she showed up at my house. I called the police. She was violating the restraining order I'd filed. "Please, Nanny," she yelled as the police escorted her away. "I'm your sister. I need your help. I have nothing." She was right. She had nothing. No money, no home, no job prospects with a felony record. She was staying at a homeless shelter. Part of me felt sorry for her. She was my sister after all. We'd grown up together, shared the same parents, the same childhood. But then I remembered Thomas, remembered him weak and dying in bed while Karen stole from him, remembered how she forged documents claiming to be his wife, remembered how she tried to steal $500,000 from his life insurance, and I felt nothing. My friend Martha asked me once, "Do you
ever regret turning her in? She is your sister.
No, I said firmly. If I had let her get away with it, she would have stolen every penny Thomas left me. She would have continued scamming and stealing from others. I didn't just turn her in for me, I did it for her next victim. That's a very mature way to look at it. It's the only way to look at it. 3 years after Thomas died, I attended a support group for widows. I wanted to connect with others who understood the grief of losing a spouse. At one meeting, a woman named Patricia shared her story. My husband died 6 months ago, and my sister has been stealing from me, using his credit cards, taking money from his accounts. I confronted her and she denied everything, said I was crazy with grief. My heart sank. Do you have proof? I have bank statements, but she's my sister. I don't know if I can turn her in. After the meeting, I approached her. Patricia, I need to tell you something. I told her my story, everything that had happened with Karen. You need to report her, I said firmly. I know she's your sister. I know you love her. But if she's stealing from you now, she won't stop. She'll take everything. Patricia cried, but she's family. Being family doesn't give her the right to steal from you. Thomas was family to Karen. She was his sister-in-law for 32 years. It didn't stop her. Patricia filed a police report the next week. Her sister was arrested, and Patricia thanked me. You gave me the courage to do what was right, even when it was hard. Now, at 71 years old, I live alone in the house Thomas and I shared. I have his pictures everywhere. His favorite chair is still in the living room. His books are still on the shelves. Sometimes I sit in his chair and talk to him, tell him about my day, about the places I've traveled to, about our nieces and nephews and their children. And I tell him what happened with Karen, how she tried to steal from him, how I caught her, how justice was served. I like to think he would be proud of me, proud that I stood up for both of us, that I didn't let her get away with it. My mother passed away last year at 86. At her funeral, Karen showed up. She stood in the back, not approaching anyone. After the service, she tried to talk to me. Nanny, I don't, I said, walking past her. Please, Mama would want us to reconcile. I stopped and turned. Mama died disappointed in you. She told me before she died that her biggest regret was that one of her daughters turned out to be a thief and a liar. Don't use her memory to try to manipulate me. Karen's face crumpled. I've changed. I've been going to therapy. I'm different now. Good for you, but that doesn't change what you did. You stole from my dying husband. You forged documents to claim you were his wife. You tried to steal $500,000 from his actual widow. Arresting her at a party? That's called justice. I've learned a lot in the past few years. I've learned that family doesn't always mean loyalty, that blood doesn't always mean trust, that sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones closest to us. But I've also learned that I'm stronger than I thought, that I can survive losing the love of my life, that I can stand up for myself and for Thomas's memory. Karen thought I was weak. She thought grief would make me vulnerable, easy to manipulate.
She thought she could steal from me and I'd be too devastated to notice or too timid to do anything about it. She was wrong. Last week, I received a message from someone I didn't know, a woman named Linda. Mrs. Sterling, you don't know me, but I saw your story on a fraud prevention website. Your case was used as an example of identity theft by family members. I'm going through something similar with my brother. He's been stealing from our elderly father. Your story gave me the courage to report him. Thank you for being brave. You saved my father from losing everything. I read that message 3 times, tears streaming down my face. What Karen did was horrible and forgivable, but maybe some good came from it. Maybe my story will help others recognize the warning signs. Maybe it will give others the courage to stand up to family members who are stealing from them. Maybe Thomas's death and Karen's betrayal can mean something. I visit Thomas's grave every week, bring fresh flowers, sit on the bench nearby and talk to him. I miss you, I tell him, every single day. The house is too quiet without you. The bed is too empty. My life is too lonely. But then I think about everything that's happened, everything I've survived, and I add, but I'm okay, Thomas. I'm strong. I stood up for us. I didn't let her win. I made sure justice was served. And I know you're proud of me. The wind rustles through the trees, and I like to think it's Thomas answering, telling me, yes, he's proud. Yes, I did the right thing. Yes, he loves me still. At 71 years old, I've learned that strength doesn't mean never being hurt. It means being hurt and still standing up for yourself. Karen tried to break me. She tried to steal my husband's legacy, my financial security, my dignity. She failed. I'm still here, still strong, still fighting.
And I'll keep fighting for as long as I'm alive. For myself, for Thomas, for everyone who's been betrayed by someone they trusted. Because that's what we do. We survive. We stand up. We demand justice. Even when the person who hurt us is family. Especially when the person who hurt us is family. Did you like my story? Which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. I'm looking forward to your comments on the story. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend. There's so much more on my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.